Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop today. Today we're going to be working on our 2005 K5 Suzuki GSXR1000. We are going to be working on replacing this radiator right here. This one got smashed up in an accident. We've got a new one over on the workbench, so let's see what we got to do to get this off. This is not going to be an extremely detailed how-to, but we do have a new radiator on the bench, a drip pan, some distilled water if you're going to be flushing anything out. I do like to use this Maxima Coolant coolant. Probably need some pliers for some hose fittings. I got an 8, a 10, and a 6. Also have a 10mm wrench, and I'll probably cheat and use my little Milwaukee. And if I need to crack that bleeder tool, I'll probably just use a JIS screwdriver. Crack this one loose on the left-hand side of the bike. It's a 6mm. And these have been on there forever, so I'm not sure how stiff they'll be. It also is important that white mark, hopefully you can see that, there's a notch right there. That's an indexing mark to make sure that you have it aligned properly. Okay, well that wasn't too terrible. Okay, not a ton of coolant came out there. Crack this other one loose over here, also 6mm. Okay, not a lot of coolant coming out of this whatsoever. But then again, I did have the radiator cap on because it smashed on. Let me see if I can get this cap off because it is in bad shape. Couldn't get the radiator cap off. I think it's just too dented. I mean, I'm sure I could, but this radiator's trash anyways. So I did take the overflow tank off. I have this hose off here. Now there is a 10mm bolt right here, and there's one on the other side. We get both of those out, but there's also 3 10mm bolts underneath here. So let's get under there and get those out. The 3 10s are 1, 2, and 3. They're not the ones that go straight in that hold the oil cooler in, but they're right here. On the opposite side for reference. There is an electrical connection in here to the fan that you have to undo. Oh, well, that was simple. I made that way harder than it needed to be. So just comparing the two to make sure all my bracketry and mounting hardware and everything are in the same spot, and everything looks to be bang on. One thing I did notice is, see how this is bent up here? When it got impacted, it actually came in contact where this fan should be free. It's actually coming in contact with the radiator, so we wouldn't have been able to ride it like that anyways, or else the bike would have got hot. I'm gonna take these 10mm out and swap this fan over. First one, inspect it, make sure it looks okay. There's a chance we might have to tweak these brackets. Oh yeah, well that's good news. The fan is nice and free. Denso, yep, it's a factory fan, so okay. I don't see any cracks or anything like that. Let's clean this up before we get it on the new one. Yeah, there's a little bit better shot. You can see right there where it had impacted from that Chrysler 200. You will need to reuse this from the OEM radiator, and that goes on here, or else you're not going to be able to thread that new one on up top there. It's pretty snug. So with any luck, this should line up like this. Okay, and I am making contact with that radiator, which I don't want, so I'm going to tweak these a little bit to my liking. Ah, that's probably the culprit right there. That's bent in. So let's straighten this one up. See what that does. Make sure that your fan spins nice and free without coming into any contact with those radiator fins. Of course, you'll probably be working on something that hasn't been crashed into a Chrysler, so you probably won't have the same problem as me, but it'll work. Okay, I'm also gonna reuse these rubber grommets. They go inside of here, and I took these out of the OEM radiator. They should just pop in, but knowing my luck, it'll be really tough. Nah, pretty simple. You do have a little spacer. Should just slide in just like that. So far, I'm impressed with the fitment of everything. So that's a good sign. I'm not gonna tell you where I bought the radiator until I can validate that it actually works. I don't wanna tell you it's great if it turns out to be a big hunk of shit. And this radiator is ready to go back in the bike. We'll just take a moment to enjoy this nice, beautiful rainstorm. All right, you might hear a little bit of background noise, but it is what it is. Got to keep working. We'll try to be very careful not to damage those fins. Okay, now there is nuts on the back side of this. Yeah, there are little 8mm nuts, or maybe 10mm nuts that go on the back side of that. I'm gonna get those started. Go ahead and snag our overflow bottle back on. Hook up the radiator hoses. So a really good coolant change, bleed process. We won't go over all that in this video, but we are gonna fill this up with some Maxima Coolanol. Cool little coolant funnel. It's got a adapter here. That sits down in there, down in your filler neck. You fill the adapter over it. Lock it in, put your funnel in, and then you can fill it up with coolant and release the plunger, and then you don't spill anything or have any mess. Now's a good time to check, make sure you don't have any leaks anywhere. Okay, well, I am unable to start the motorcycle because I have the tank and all of that other stuff off. I have burped these hoses numerous times, rocked the bike back and forth. So we won't be able to do the full bleed procedure and crack this bleeder back open just to make sure it's 100% out until I get the bike fully back and operational. But for now, this is good to go. No leaks. The reservoir is on the full mark. I don't know if you guys can see that there, but that reservoir is on the full mark. Yeah, so we are full, and for right now that's good enough until we're able to get the bike running and do that final bleed procedure. But so far the overall quality, everything matched up like it should, so I'm happy with that. not too terrible. Once again, this is not an exact how-to, step-by-step instructional tutorial. There's lots of good videos out there on the internet about that. This is just me kind of putting a part in this series on changing the radiator out. But yeah, all the fitment and everything was good. Went pretty smoothly, so I'm pretty happy with the way everything came out. This is our 2005 Suzuki GSXR1000. If you guys do have any questions about any of that, you can hit me up at Scottlink_L5P on Instagram. As always, I appreciate everybody for watching. Until next time, thank you. Take care. It's not going to be an extremely detailed how-to, but we do have our radiator on the bench, drip pan, some distilled water if you need to flush out your system. I do use, and I'll spare you the air bubble. Any questions about this, please let me know. If